Welcome to the Inside Game. I'm your host, Kamel Jabbar. The views expressed in this program are those of the host and the guest, and not necessarily reflective of anyone or any entity associated with this broadcast. Today's episode, Believe, the Foundation of Confidence. So I watched this episode of America's Got Talent in the past, and it was one hopeful that really stood out to me. A young talent that had a really good singing voice. It wasn't his performance that struck a chord with me, no pun intended. It was his self-confidence, more so his lack of. Now, by means of full disclosure, a little bit about me. My background, I'm a former music executive turned entrepreneur. I also spent 30 years in the sales management profession. Now, just so you know, these are professions that require you to have a very large ego. Check. However, if anyone wants to have any longevity in this business, it also requires an extreme amount of self-awareness and humility. Throughout my media career, I've always worked with talented people in some way, shape, or form. And as a gangster hip-hop music executive, I was responsible for a lot of the music people complain about back then and, today. Well, as a music executive, I was always my harshest critic, I would think. Most of my childhood friends could tell you that. I've been that way since I was a kid. It was that drive and people who believed in me that enabled me to work with some of the biggest labels in the country and create friendships with some of the giants in the industry. I was blessed to sit under the learning tree of some of the most knowledgeable teachers of the industry, and it was that education that ultimately led me into being an entrepreneur. The underlying constant of every interaction that I have ever had with any of my colleagues was that I was always coaching, always teaching. It was my ego that told me I would leave things in a better shape than I found them in. It was my self-awareness that taught me that although I was a good salesman, my real strength lied behind the scenes. Same thing musically. I was a decent rapper with a good sound. My real strength still lied behind the scenes, guiding others to create their sound. Fast forward to here and now. In addition to my work with Felicitous Media Incorporated, I'm also a customer service coach of some sort. Now, you might ask, what does this have to do with the kid on America's Got Talent? Everything. One of the things that really gets under my skin is seeing a very talented person that everyone believes in, and they don't believe in themselves.